it's unacceptable. I mean, I do not want to see the manager getting sacked because we've done that so many times, but also I completely disagree with what he was saying after the game. And there has to be accountability, doesn't there? It's unacceptable. It's embarrassing, really.
Shaw injured now, Ali. Maguire out. You go to Anfield at the weekend. Look, it's always a big game regardless, but Liverpool now top. They'll be smelling blood here, won't they, Ali?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, it's you couldn't go to work. Well, you could argue it's a perfect game for United in terms of getting them back on track if they go and win the game and things like that. But I just think it could be the hallmarks of another disaster. I was going to ask you, Mark, the worrying thing, and I don't know if you heard Alan and I talk about it. I think it's now got to the fans and the respect that. I'm looking at that game last night, and it was as if there was a kind of acceptance from the fans as well. You know what I mean? I'm going to go. I'm at Newcastle tonight, and I think it'll be the complete opposite. I think that place will be absolutely jumping tonight. Newcastle, Alan's correct in what he said. They look dead in their feet, understandably, I think, to a certain degree against the Spurs at the weekend. But I think the place will be electric in the atmosphere. But I look at Old Trafford, and it's as if the fans are now, oh, right, this is it. You know what I mean? They don't know what's coming next.
Yeah, it's definitely like an apathy, and that can't be allowed. That can't be allowed. I mean, look, you can say the manager shouldn't be sacked because we've done that so many times, but you can't sit there and go, well, but that makes last night acceptable. There has to be accountability, and I think actually, as much as I'm disappointed, and I can't believe that in February we won't be playing any European football at all, it's incredible. I do think it has to wake people up that, you know, Man United out of Europe before Christmas is a tick in the box for a manager to be sacked. It's not enough. It's not enough. There's other things need to happen, but it has to be. There has to be accountability. And when you look at it, the mistakes that Ten Hag has made this season, there are injuries, of course. No Rashford, no Shaw, Maguire, Casemiro, Eriksen, Martinez. But there's a massive one that I said back in April when there was this big media and fan witch hunt, not talkSPORT because you can't show clips. I'm talking about, you know, the TV stations showing all these David De Gea clips. And I said, you can't replace a goalkeeper like David De Gea at Manchester United because I've seen it happen before with Schmeichel. We had Bartes, Bosnich, good goalkeepers swallowed up. And Onana across this Champions League campaign has cost us so many goals. Why was Erik Ten Hag allowed to do that? Why is there not somebody in at that football club, whether it's a director of football or somebody who knows that football club, who said, hold on a minute, you want us to get rid of David De Gea for free and spend £50 million on Onana? For me, there's no differential. That decision has cost us Europe, and I feel sorry for Onana. I think he's a good goalkeeper, but he is swallowed up by the enormity of that job, which anyone who's been a Man United fan for any period of time will tell you. That is not unusual. We had Dubravka on loan last January. He couldn't kick a ball. We've seen this year after year. Goalkeepers at Man United, there's something about that position that it doesn't matter how good you are, it can swallow you up. And I think that is something where Ten Hag needs to be accountable, well, Mark, and people in the club.
In a similar case, I remember thinking myself exactly what you're thinking about De Gea. You know, why did we have to replace him for 50 million quid? I think the same at Arsenal. Why did Arsenal bring in the Brentford keeper in when it stares you right in the face? They need a goal scorer. Now they might have to go and pay 100-odd million for Ivan Toney now. They don't need two top-class goalkeepers like that at Arsenal. So I just don't know the answer to what you're saying there.
I think
De Gea could go to Newcastle, Ali.
Absolutely could. Yeah. But I think, Mark, you're right to mention the goalkeeping position, the goalkeeping situation. But out with that, I mean, you're also looking like Anthony, Sancho, Amrabat, you'd have to say give a little bit of time to. But the recruitment at United hasn't been great in general.
No, and I think, you know what, I will say this. David De Gea in goal across that Champions League campaign, we'd still be in Europe, but we'd probably be out in the next round because we can't hurt teams, we can't create chances. The midfield again yesterday, so many United fans will agree with me on this. All season, you've got one guy on his own, whether it's Casemiro, Amrabat last night, Kobe Mainoo. You've got Bruno and McTominay hanging around, more advanced. You can't do that at this level. And I think somebody needs to be saying to Erik Ten Hag this morning, look, what is the plan? Because we're with you and you've still got the majority of the fans, but you are heading down the pathway of sack. You know, I don't think Liverpool at the weekend will win, and I don't think the club will be looking to sack him, hopefully not.
What if they get battered 3 or 4 at the weekend at Anfield?
Yeah, and I think we probably will. Well, I don't know whether we'll get back.
You still think De Gea will be? Excuse me, forget De Gea. Do you still think Ten Hag, even if it is a drubbing, a battering, that they'll say, "Look, it's not the manager. It's not his fault. You just got to give us time to sort this out."
What I'd do, Alan, is they need to get this. Look, whether I wanted it, whether the fans wanted it or not, this whole Sir Jim Ratcliffe ownership thing has been rumbling on for ages. He needs to come in. He needs to change the infrastructure above. He needs to look at that playing squad. And if when he's doing that, he goes, this is not my guy, then Ten Hag goes, doesn't he? But you can't sack the manager until we get this, whatever this ownership model is done. And then, as we've seen before, new owners come in. Sometimes they replace the manager. But that has to happen first.
Matt, last one, United 6 from top. Is that as high as they can go this year?
Well, we're nearly at Christmas, aren't we? I've not seen a team above us that I think we can get at the moment. I mean, what you got? Spurs, Villa, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. They are all better, playing better football. Newcastle destroyed us a couple of weeks ago. So there's got to be. I mean, the injuries are massive. There are a lot of injuries, but I mean, how many of those players that are injured actually are going to get back for the game at the Liverpool? You know, how many's going to be back for Christmas? You've got to get on with what you've got. And at the moment, United are just not good enough.
Or dare I say it, Ali, how many of those players injured are trying their absolute 110% to get back into a struggling side? I might just give another week on the table.
No, I hear what you're saying, but one of the worrying things again for United is two of their best players when I saw them at Newcastle was a poor performance with Maguire and Shaw, and both of them look as though they're toiling now as well. So Mark makes a good point. It never rains but it pours in terms of the injuries. However, as we've seen with Newcastle, every team gets injuries. You just got to handle them. And at this moment in time, Manchester United don't seem to be handling it at all well.
Yeah, it's not good. Mark, thanks for your time again.
Mark.
Thank you.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.